Welcome into the Beeker here on Duck Stream, presented by Gettle. I'm Alexis Downie, joined today by the Anaheim Ducks general manager, Pat Verbeek. Pat, thanks for joining us here in the studio.
My pleasure, Alexis. How you doing?
Good, good. It's been a little bit of a slow day so far. We got a game tonight, but how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Other than, team's going through a rough stretch, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Well, let's talk about where the team is at after this first quarter of the season. Obviously, tough stretch, but a good early start too. What has been your impression so far of where they're at?
Well, it's kind of really with a young team, new coach. I think I was expecting a little bit of a roller coaster ride, and now we're kind of seeing that. We're 1-1 after 2, went to 1-4, and then we lost 6 in a row, which was really good. And now we're going through a stretch where we found ways to lose. I wouldn't say, other than maybe the Edmonton game and maybe the Colorado game, we've been in every game. And I think there's been little mistakes, little turnovers at the wrong time, wrong places that have cost us points. And so I attribute that to a couple things. I think we're fairly young on the back end, and we're certainly, we got some really young players up front as well. And I think that not all of it falls on them, but I think we're learning a new way, a new style, a new accountability of how to play. And I think we're going through that learning process.
With some of these losses, is that a part of the growing pains then of just having a younger team?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've played on a team like this, certainly we have some good veterans, some really good players, have some younger players. It's, when you play against teams like LA, you play against teams like Colorado and even Edmonton, who are, those are more mature teams. Not only, from a playing standpoint, but from a physical aspect. And so even though, you're in the gym and you're working, there's just it's hard to explain a man's strength versus, a younger player's strength. So our younger players are going through that, growing pains as well. Can't make a mistake at the wrong time, and the veterans make you pay. And so that's all experience to me. More games, getting more games under their belt to learn those little nuances and understand the time of the game, the type of plays they can kind of risk to make and type of plays that they shouldn't, where they should play safe. And so that's all part of the learning curve. And as a result, there's going to be some games we win, some games we lose. And so that's where we're at.
Do you think it's good that some of these younger guys too were able to experience what winning is like at the National Hockey League level?
Oh, for sure. And they understand. I mean, we had a good run there for 6. Now we're in a tough run for 7 here. So it's now they're seeing both sides of it. And it's really, for me, it's harder. When I was a player, it's harder to get out of the losing streak than, to come off a winning streak. You might win some games you probably don't deserve to win. But then there's some games that you lose that you deserve to win. And that's the toughest part. That's the hardest part to swallow.
Now, as far as scoring so far with this team, I mean, the Vetrano, McTavish, Strome line has been leading the way this season. Are you still looking for more scoring depth on that end?
I think that, obviously we haven't had consistency with our lineup, with our forward lines. Leo's been in and out. Our fourth line, we kind of move players in and out. At some point, I think, when things, stabilize a little bit more with what we're doing with Leo, and that will probably come in the next 6 weeks or so, I think consistency from the group, the consistency on lines being put together, learning to play with one another, I think chemistry will develop and I think more success, throughout the lineup, chipping in goals, will happen.
As far as special teams this season, that's been an area of growth. How have you liked what you've seen out of both the power play and the penalty kill?
Well, I think that we got off to a rough start, certainly on both special teams, but I think we got we had a little chance to really kind of, after probably the first 3 or 4 games, I think we got some units together, and we started, to really move the puck around better and be more predictable in some of the plays we're making. And I think we had success. We've climbed up to obviously the special teams place on both. I think we're at 13 in both on both special teams, which is very respectable. And especially, I'm pleased with it from where we came from last year.
With the coaching staff being a part of that, I want to talk about head coach Greg Cronin too, and what he's been able to do so far this season. What's been your impression of how he has been as a coach for this young team?
I think he's been great. Been very happy. I think, very happy with him and the staff. I think what he's brought is, as you've watched through training camp, the evolution of, these guys learning how, teaching them the fundamentals of how to get in lanes, fundamentals, how to, pin guys and staple guys to the boards, keep their checks in front of them. That's been a huge learning process for the whole group. Some of the older players have never seen it. And so now, they're starting to, as I watch the games, it's becoming more natural to them and now more consistent. And so that's been a huge shift in, how we play, even defending, but forechecking as well. So I think the accountability's been there. Nobody gets missed in some of the team meetings if you're not performing. So I think that's been new for the players, and so there's that takes a little bit of an adjustment as well. So it's it's a process, and we're only a month and a half into the season, and so I expect things to kind of become more comfortable, more natural for not only the players but the coaches as well.
On the accountability side, you brought in some guys in the offseason to be leaders on this team, Alex Killorn, Radko Gudas, 2 of those acquisitions. Have you liked what you've seen out of them from not only the leadership side, but on the ice too?
Well, I think Gudas has been a real important piece for us, not only with his competitive, his physical, but he drags guys into the fight, so to speak, and into the emotions of the game. And he sticks up for his teammates. Killorn's kind of been a little bit just kind of getting back. He's missed all the, most of training camp. So it's been a slow start for him, but I expect him to pick it up here in the next, couple of weeks to kind of get things turned around and going in the right direction. But yeah, as far as leadership and experience, he certainly brings really good attributes there.
Now, on the side of the younger guys, I want to go through a couple of those young guys on the team. Pavel Mintyukov, what have you thought about his first season in the NHL?
Well, I'm actually frankly surprised at how well he's doing. We knew he was a very smart player, gifted. I thought, it's been funny. We knew about the offensive side, but he's been equally as good on the defensive side. I think for Pavel, he's put a lot of work in the gym in the off season, and I think it's made a huge, huge difference in his battles along the boards. I mean, he's done a really good job. We've been very happy, with him.
And seeing what Gudas can teach Pavel too. I mean, on the blue line and just defensively, I'm sure that has to be a positive too in your mind.
Yeah, no, I think that the group, even Jackson, I think Vakanainen's had, missing a lot of the last part of the year last year, and coming up from the hip surgery has done very well. Him and Gudas actually been a really good pairing together this year. And so overall, even Cam Fowler, we've been really happy with him and how he's played. He logs a lot of minutes, gets put in a lot of tough situations on a nightly basis. So I think overall we're trending in the right direction. There's a lot of I look at Jackson, Lacombe, there's a lot of more games that need to get under their belt, to learn and to get better.
With Jackson, an area that Greg Cronin has talked about is just his offensive side of the play too. Are you hoping to see more of that from him?
Yeah, the tough part is he's been kind of playing his offside. Last year, I mean, he did it at Minnesota last year. I prefer defensemen to play on the regular side, the regular forehand side. I think the game is a lot easier for him, and I think it allows him to be more naturally feel better, more confident when he can get up the ice from his natural side versus coming from his offside. So, that'll be stuff that, that could change down the road. But, with, Luno in the lineup tonight, we'll have 3 right-hand shots tonight, and we'll have 3 left-hand shots tonight. So you'll see Jackson probably on the left-hand side tonight. So we're looking to see how that will go.
You mentioned Luno, just having some games under his belt now too, and getting in the lineup. What have you seen out of him?
Well, he's played fairly well for a guy who hasn't seen a lot of action. It's tough to kind of come in and play 1 game a week, which he's kind of has. And then we were able to get him down to San Diego, where he got to play 6 games in a 2-week span, which was really good for him. And I think it got him, jump started. It's a big adjustment. I think Tristan, he likes to carry the puck a little bit too much, and we've been working with him on that to move it quicker. And he's adjusting.
We're staying on the back end too, with the goalie tandem that you have right now. Do you see the 2 of them fitting into the future plan for this organization?
Well, I think at this part, certainly, I can't predict the future. Obviously, Lucas is a really good prospect. He's kind of had a rough patch over the last couple of games, but we see him as a guy that's, has a chance to be a really good goaltender for our organization. And Gibby, we have for 3 more years that I can think of. So, and John's been very well, played very well for us. He's done a very good job. Some of the games we haven't been able to give him the run support, in some of the games that where he's played well enough for us to win. So I've been pleased with our goaltending and how they've played together.
As a whole for this team, it's been a little bit tough on the end of penalties for them so far. Has that been an area of concern for you?
Well, it's always a concern when we take more penalties than we're drawing. So, I feel at times that, that things could go the opposite way too. So, it's a constant battle with our group, and so we're looking to kind of have them, ignore all the noise and just battle through it.
Is that a message that Greg Cronin gives to the team?
Yep, it is. Yep, just you just have to ignore the stuff, control the stuff you can control, and go from there.
As far as some other guys that haven't been in the lineup that have been out, Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale, do you have updates on either of those guys?
Not really, as far as being able to tell you when they're going to come back. They are on the ice skating, going through our skating protocols to kind of, gear up or ramp up, to where they're going to kind of push to get back in the lineup. So I can't give you a timeline. It's too unpredictable.
And we talked a little bit about Leo already, but have you been happy with his progress so far this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's done exactly what we've asked. He's exceeded some of the, the goals that we had set for him. So yeah, we're pleased, very pleased. Now just kind of keep progressing to where you'll be able to play 3 games a week here coming up in the next week or so. And we're going to progress to the next stage of the Leo plan.
As you look ahead to the next quarter of this NHL season, what are you hoping to see out of this team?
Well, I think there's certain things in our game that we have to try and eliminate, and turnovers when we have full possession of pucks is a key ingredient for us to winning and turning this thing around. And we're finding ways to shoot ourselves in the foot, so to speak, when it comes to that stuff. So that's probably a main focus of our group here in the next for the next 10 games.
We talked a little bit about San Diego too, and the Gulls. You mentioning some of, the guys down there. What have you thought about some of their growth, some of those younger players?
Well, I think that, we got off to a great start win-wise, start season 2-0, and then it's been a real tough go from there. I think, as I talked to Matt, I told him not to worry about the wins and losses. I think we do have a very young team, and you're going to go through those growing pains. And I'm starting to see now, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, good upside, good growth in some of our younger players there, not only on defense, but up front as well.
McIlvaine, his first season, you just mentioned it, your conversation with him. How can he be such a leader for that young team down there too, since you brought him in?
Well, I think that anytime you're a coach, you got leadership qualities. I think being for him, when you're going through a losing stretch, being just a calm, steady voice, positive, and I think energetic, and just keep pushing for guys to do the right things and improving. I think that's the message that that Matt's conveying, and frankly, that's the message that I want them to receive. And just for the players, they're doing well, and we're not getting the results, but I think at some point the results will start turning around.
Pat, for you, what's ahead in these coming weeks? I mean, the holidays are around the corner, but anything ahead for you in the next couple weeks?
Well, I'll get back to Michigan, see my kids for Christmas for a couple of days, and then we'll head over to the World Junior Championships for a week and watch some hockey there.
Exciting times.
Yes, it is.
All right, Pat. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today on another episode of The Beeker.
All right, Alexis. Thanks you.